Namaste everyone, this is Pradnya and welcome to my channel Awaken with Pradnya. In simple language, if I really want to express my learning or understanding, is that you are actually becoming aware about who you truly are and what is your life purpose, because most part of our lives we are living with a very ordinary level of consciousness. We are understanding our life in a very three-dimensional way. Do good things in life, be successful, be famous, earn money, travel the whole world, have a nice family, have nice spouse, kids, and happily, one day do some good things in life and die. That is what is the conventional life expectancy a normal human being would have. But when you are awakened, you are becoming aware about your multi-dimensional existence, that you are not just a 3D physical being, but as a soul you are an energetic being, and your energy is existing in multi-dimensional form. And awakening simply means that you are slowly getting aware of that multidimensional existence of your own soul, your own self, and you start realizing who you truly are and what is your purpose of being here on this earth. There are infinite ways how a person can awaken and start understanding the spiritual aspect of them. But whatever I am telling you right now is a very generic interpretation of what sort of experience somebody would go through. A spiritual awakening can also happen if a human being has experienced some traumatic event or a death or some sort of an incident which leaves a deep impact on their soul. These things can trigger a spontaneous spiritual awakening in person without doing any sort of a spiritual practice. And why this subject of spiritual awakening is talked so much in the twin flame journey? Because anybody who is a twin flame and encounters their twin flame becomes the reason to trigger that awakening inside you. And the kind of pain which is generated due to this twin flame separation, it's so unbearable, it is so painful that eventually it triggers your spiritual awakening. And that is how you start actually walking on this path of spiritual transformation. So it is a process, it happens in layers. So in this video I have tried to put this process in terms of phases. Just for your easy understanding, I am trying to put it in a certain form of compartmentalization. Actually speaking, there are a lot of things which I wanted to talk about twin flame awakening, and I'm basically planning to have a complete series on ascension. So before I begin, all those who are new to this channel and looking forward to a lot of interesting information related to twin flames, ascension and spiritual awakening, please subscribe to my channel and also click on the bell icon. Now specifically in the twin flame context, the turning point comes when you meet your twin flame. Of course, that time you are not knowing that this person is your twin flame. You may not even know the term twin flame the time you meet them. But you meet this person, and because of some reason you are separated, there are some unexpected turnarounds, and your life suddenly turns upside down. And that is where your initial stage of awakening starts, which in our spiritual vocabulary we call the dark night of the soul. There is a acute pain you are going through. It's as if you are dying a thousand deaths. You will prefer dying rather than being alive. That sort of a pain it will trigger, maybe because of the separation or the kind of treatment you have got from your twin flame. Nothing else remaining for you to go below that. There is so much of darkness around you, as if you have just entered into a long tunnel which feels like it's an unending tunnel and you will maybe never ever come out of that tunnel. That is the kind of feeling you will get when you enter the dark night of the soul. So this pain can have a mixture of many things. It's not just about twin flame. It could also involve your family issues, your past life negative patterns. There is so much which is coming. But the thing is that a twin flame Separation triggers it, and everything comes on your face at once. Your thought process is completely shut off. Your brain does not work, and you are just lost. You have lost the sense of time, lost the urge to go out and meet people. When I experienced this, I was not even looking at myself in a mirror for so many months. My work suffered, I stopped working. It's like a lowest low of your life, and you couldn't even imagine that you would see this sort of a day in your life where you feel that there is no hope at all. You are almost dead. You can call yourself a living dead, that okay, you are breathing, you are eating, you are alive, but actually there is nothing else left in your heart. You just feel that you are a dead person walking around. You would feel that as you are going crazy, maybe you should visit a therapist, because if you don't consult a therapist, you completely may go insane and you just might lose it all. Life literally feels meaningless, as if there is no purpose left. It is basically being triggered by the non-availability of your twin flame, that they have left you or you can't be in contact with them. As a person, whatever ambitions you had, if I do this, then by the age of 30 I should become this, or so those sort of calculations we all do in our life, you would completely lose them, and most of your ego is challenged and it is diminishing. Dark night of the soul can last for few weeks or few months or even for few years for some people. It just does not happen once, it happens several times in your journey, and every time the way it happens can be completely different. The nature of experience of that dark night is completely different than the previous one. After the dark night of the soul, the second phase, I would name it as the silver lining on the cloud. Because what can happen if you are going into your lowest low? Someday, if you are alive, you would start feeling some sort of a hope, because you are ultimately a human being and you are also being guided. As you settle down in your despair and pain, the next thing is that you can't go lower than that, so naturally you start looking up and above, and somewhere you start feeling hope. I think this is the time when you need the divine guidance the most, so you will start noticing a lot of divine signs just after your lowest low of the dark night of the soul. You start being aware about a lot of things, because you have already got this understanding that you were being divinely guided in some way or the other in this process of your dark night of the soul. And you start noticing synchronicities when you are in this phase of being hopeful. You would start naturally come across a lot of books which may give a lot of answers to what you are looking for, or you may come across some information on internet, or somebody is telling you something which happens to be exactly the answer of what you are looking for. And somewhere you start seeing or becoming aware that yes, whatever you have been experiencing, there is a possibility that you will get answers to your questions some or the other way. Even in my dark night of the soul, there have been incidences where I felt clearly that there was some sort of a divine guidance being provided to me, even though I was not at all in a mind frame to acknowledge that divine guidance, but somewhere I was noticing it. I was facing a lot of pain, and one day I came across a book in a bookshop, and I just picked it, and that book happened to give all the answers to my questions which I was going through that time. And in this very stage of, you come across this term called twin flame after you are almost over with your first experience of your dark night of the soul. You realize that your connection with this person is not just a random attraction, or not something which was just there from your side, but there is a divine aspect to this connection, and there is something more to it. And why you start feeling that? Because you have witnessed enough coincidences which you can't really call coincidences anymore, and you start acknowledging that these are synchronicities, and there is a meaning to those incidences, a bigger meaning to those incidences. And that's when you start awakening to this concept of being or meeting a twin flame. That is what I would say as a awakening of a twin flame. Those who are not twin flames and have not experienced a twin flame journey would of course not have this realization, but everything else would be the same. I will tell you my personal experience. I completely lost the sense of belonging to a certain community. Before that, I used to be a person, I used to be really attached with my relatives, my family, my friends, and I would always be up for them. And I used to feel that belonging, that yes, they belong to me and I belong to them. But during this first three stages of my awakening, I came to a point that I realized it from within that there is no point in being attached to anybody else in my life, because everybody has their own life and their own life agendas. There is no point in expecting anything from them or being attached to them or being tangled in them by any sort of feeling or emotion. And somehow I was so withdrawn from everything. Even from my mother, I was completely withdrawn. My real brother, my closest friends, my family. And there was so much of anger. There was all this purging process happening. I used to get angry literally on anybody and everybody that time. And I believe that it was that process where everything, all these patterns were coming up and being purged in that particular process. So when I was out of it in this third or fourth stage, I came out of it successfully and I learned to detach myself from anybody else. Even though I am detached, I have not stopped loving them. I love them all from the bottom of my heart, but I am not attached to them emotionally anymore. The third stage is that you become a very inquisitive person, because as you are coming out of this dark night of the soul and starting to see hope, you start hogging a lot of information around you. And this is the exact space most of you might be coming on YouTube searching for your answers, or going to websites like Quora or any other spiritual websites to read articles about spirituality. This is the phase where you are a thirsty reader or a thirsty information seeker. You want to get everything and anything, whatever is related to what you are looking for. You want to read everything, whatever is written there on the net, or you want to watch each and every video about twin flames so that you don't miss anything. You start feeling that unless and until you know everything, you would not be able to be in union with your twin flame. So that yearning of your twin flame is actually pushing you to seek all this information very diligently. You are passionately seeking this information day and night in this phase. You would be suddenly interested in this information which is related to souls, afterlife, reincarnation, star seeds, quantum concepts, ancient scriptures, time travel, dimensions, spiritual practices. So all these like occult sciences, you would get drawn to these subjects. You may not be a person who was interested in these things. I mean, if you really ask me, I used to be interested in few things before my initial stage of my awakening, but I was never a person who would look for information about star seeds, for example. I was never interested in that. I never believed in the concept of soulmates. I never even uh, gave it a second thought if I read that term anywhere. And I was a completely intellectual and a logical person before I went through this whole process, fluctuating between the acceptance and denial. And it's a very interesting stage because in this stage, you still have your intellectual self. You are still thinking logically. You are still questioning yourself. But at the same time, you are also realizing, as you have experienced a lot in your dark night of the soul, you have also started believing that, yeah, these things are actually real because I'm myself experiencing these things. So, somewhere your gut is telling you to believe what you have experienced and what you have read about souls and incarnations and dimensions. And at the same time, your logical self is asking that, is it really real? Do you have any proofs? So, at one point, you are a skeptic holding your ego. Another side, you are completely surrendering to the universe and its magic. So you are going to and fro between the two. In this swinging stage, people would normally ask questions like, how is it possible that somebody is awakened? So that how is really big. You want to find the answers of your how. For everything you want reasoning, that how this is done. You want to know the process, you want to know the logic, you want to know the complete reasoning behind that particular concept. And another thing is what if questions. As you are being skeptical, but at the same time you want to believe the other side, you would keep asking questions like, what if this twin flame journey is fake? Or what if this is my illusion and nothing is real? These what if questions also are coming from this particular phase of your awakening, that you are swinging between these two worlds, your logical world and your spiritual realization, whatever you have experienced so far. Also, in this stage, you have started thinking about your true identity. You are somewhere asking yourself that who you really are. Because if this is true, that there is a afterlife, there is reincarnation, there are souls, there are soulmates, there are life realms, and there are soul contracts, karma, and there are so many things which you are newly coming to know, you start questioning yourself, who exactly are you? And whatever you had as an image of yourself. My name is Pradnya, and I come from India. I'm a female. I'm a master's degree. I do this and whatever, like whatever I consider myself as, I would start questioning in this particular stage, that is it this which is my real identity, or I am somebody else? Maybe there is something more to my own self. There is something more which I have right now not really understood about myself. This stage 4, as it is very interesting, it's also very challenging and it's very overwhelming, and it is overloaded with a lot of internal up and downs. And feeling overwhelmed in this stage is completely okay. Most of us, when we are going through this stage where we are struggling between the two worlds, whether to be logical or to accept the spiritual reality which we are newly discovering, feeling overwhelmed is completely okay. It's part of the process. Now, after this stage, I would say the next stage comes, which I name it as kickstart of the real spiritual journey. And why I say that, because once you start accepting the spiritual reality of your spiritual identity, once you are more on the acceptance side of your energetic reality, the souls, the dimension, the more and more you start getting closer to it, start getting aligned with it more and more, your logic starts diminishing. You won't really require any sort of a reasoning, or you won't ask questions like, what if this happens, or how does this happen? You will get involved in the process and sensing that process instead of asking how and what if questions. That is why I say that it's a real kickstart of the journey, because from this stage, from stage 5, the kickstart, you really get on this journey, because then there is no denial anymore. You have more or less accepted that you are there on this journey. You have already started acknowledging your synchronicity and signs. You have already understood that there is a spirit guidance you are getting all along, and there is a deeper sense of awareness in you. You are getting aware of, I mean, you are not anymore in your ordinary consciousness the way other people on this planet are. You are definitely vibrating at a level where you are a 3D human being living in a physical body on earth, but your awareness has shifted to some level, and you are no more just an ordinary conscious human being, but you are having something extra in your awareness. In this particular state, you will also feel like re-evaluating yourself. You would want to look at yourself and make necessary changes. So you stop doing certain things and you start, like, I stopped reading newspaper. I stopped watching TV, especially the news. And there was a lot of lifestyle change which naturally happened. Some sort of behavioral changes also happen. that an extrovert person can become introvert or introvert can become extrovert. You lose your old friends because as your frequency and awareness is changing, you no longer resonate with your old friends or the kind of groups you were mingling with before. You suddenly lose your interest in them, and either you find your new interests and you start going to some different place altogether, or you become on your own. Like, you are, why this is happening? Because you are getting more and more in alignment with who you really are. Mostly in this stage, when you look at the world, you will either get angry or you will get sad looking at the world the way it operates. Either it will be like a real anger trigger for you that what is happening around, or you will have a lot of pain looking at what is happening around you. It puts you in a depression, and then there is a deeper sense of emotions which you experience in this phase. You have really become emotionally very, very sensible in this place, in this phase. So I will actually call this kickstart journey phase is the most revolutionizing phase in your awakening process, and it is very much comparable to the metamorphosis which happens in nature. Because from the caterpillar, from going to the cocoon, you are becoming a butterfly. You are going through that process. You are getting isolated in between. You are uh, tearing off that cocoon and coming out of it and finally getting ready to fly. Now, another most interesting stage, the sixth stage, I have named it as a spiritual ego. Now, what happens is that once you have accepted that you are going through a spiritual awakening, and you are aware about certain things which other people are not. So, all your friends and family, they are in an ordinary consciousness, but your consciousness level has gone up. So, somewhere you start developing a sense of pride that you are different from everybody else. You are above everybody else because you are now aware about your spiritual side. You are better than others, or some people did not deserve your attention, or maybe some people are toxic for you and you don't really want to be with them because of their toxicity. You have more divinity in you than them because they are toxic, and you are more divine. You don't belong here on this earth. You have just come here because you are an old soul and you wanted to help some poor deprived souls on earth, and that is why you are here. Otherwise, this is not your original place. There are a lot of things like this which start coming in your mind, which I would typically call as a spiritual ego. I mean, I want to term it as a spiritual ego. And there is nothing wrong in feeling this because, yeah, we all are human beings, we all are going through a certain phase. There are also some people who also might get into a phase of spiritual bypassing. They feel that there is only love and light, and they start ignoring their fears or their shadow self, and they refuse to look at their doing their inner work. So there is nothing to be ashamed about this phase. Everybody goes through a phase of having a spiritual ego. Accept it. It's one of the stages, one of the phases of spiritual awakening. But you should be aware that you have to work on this, and you have to be aware. If at all you are having these thoughts, you should be aware that this is a part of your spiritual ego. After this stage, I would say we enter into a stage of grounding, because in the grounding stage, you start realizing that uh, where you are actually going wrong, if at all you are going wrong, in terms of having this ego or analyzing others. And as you have started vibrating at a higher consciousness, you have already started realizing that everything is one. There is no duality as such. The kind of duality you are experiencing in the 3D plane is just part of your physical life, and eventually every human being or everything whatever you are seeing around is just one energy. You, me, everybody else is just one. There is no duality in it. So you start realizing these things. You also realize that your key objective is to work on your shadow self, do your inner work, heal yourself, and in the process also heal others. You start slowly realizing this. In this stage, as you have understood the importance of ascending spiritually, you would also start looking for different techniques of many people would get drawn to some sort of meditations or spiritual practices or techniques. There is this urge to know or learn about it and apply it on other people. So, your traits, if you are a healer as a soul, those traits would start opening up, that you are actually vibrating as close as possible to your higher self. So, all these inbuilt uh, powers which are there in you, you are wanting to explore those and learn and know more about those. Grounding stage, you get more and more serious with your relationship with the universe. You are taking everything seriously. You are seriously trying to listen to your spirit guides. You are very serious about your spiritual awakening, and somehow you have started understanding that this whole twin flame experience journey you have come along, there is a bigger purpose to it, there is a spiritual purpose to it, and it is better that you listen to your inner guidance so that you are the dimension existence of you. Energetically you are taking that existence more and more seriously. The kind of sensations you are feeling, you are taking those sensations or that informations or your intuition very very seriously. By this time, somewhere as you have done your inner conscious work and shadow work, you are starting to coming into balance. So most of your purging with your twin flame, the bad days and the days of fight and imbalance and disalignment have gone by the time you are in this stage, and you are feeling some sort of a harmony with yourself first. And because you are feeling harmony inside you, you also start experiencing that harmony with your twin flame as well. After this, coming out of a spiritual cocoon, because in all this process you have isolated yourself. You used to live an ordinary life few years back, so you are not living that sort of a life anymore. But after you come out of this tunnel of whole spiritual awakening process, you come out of that cocoon, your energies are quite normal, you feel normal, you are not feeling drained or you are not feeling triggered or challenged by anything. You can mingle around with people, you are able to watch movies, you are able to do normal things in a normal way. But the basic difference in your consciousness is that now you are aware, you are an awakened person, you know why you are here, you have started understanding what is your purpose of being here, and your consciousness has expanded to higher realms. Most of your trauma or negative stuff inside you is already healed. You start feeling the need of doing something for the community. And I would say this is like a completely balanced phase where you are almost in peace. There is no inner struggle anymore. You are completely aware, and you are expanding and you are learning new things every day without any negative triggering happening inside you. Because by this time, when things are normalizing and you are aware, you are getting ready to activate your spiritual mission. So you are very near to realize what is your purpose, what is your mission, why you actually came here in the human body, and you are mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually ready to walk your purpose of life. And when you start walking your true life purpose, I feel that you are already partially in union with your twin flame, either spiritually, emotionally, mentally, if not physically. Some other aspects of your union have already been accomplished in terms of balance and harmony. But this is what I feel that the twin flame awakening process looks like or feels like. So I hope whatever I have explained according to my own experience helps you to understand what is a spiritual awakening in